More than 4.5 million retirement fund members have accumulated over 47 billion rand in investment returns on their unclaimed benefits. The majority of the payouts belong to laborers who came to South Africa to work in mines. The Financial Sector Conduct Authority says more of these funds should be used for social good. Civil society organizations like Open Secrets and the Center for Applied Legal Studies are taking the financial regulators to court. We're now joined by the acting legal head of Open Secrets, Tabitha Paine, to tell us why. Thank you very much for availing yourself this afternoon. So maybe just a little bit of a background information and what we need to understand about the situation.
Thanks very much for having me on your show. Yeah, so it's been a long-standing situation going back to apartheid times where particularly mine workers' information wasn't taken down correctly by employers and also fund administrators. So it's led to a situation where a lot of beneficiaries of pension funds are unable to access their pension benefits. It's spanned now generations where pension benefits have not been able to be accessed, and that's had impacts on, for example, the right to housing, the right to education, and at the moment we're in a situation where no one is actually really taking responsibility for the actions of both employers but also fund administrators.
Let's pick up on the point that you made that this dates back to apartheid times and there's a number of people with unclaimed benefits. What then is your involvement and your call?
Well, essentially, we've currently just launched a case against the FSCA, or the Financial Sector Regulator. Now, the Financial Sector Regulator is, as its name suggests, it regulates the financial sector, which incorporates a wide variety of private actors. And we've seen, particularly around the state capture events, that's all the things that were covered during the Zondo Commission testimonies, that the financial sector had a huge role to play in these and other crimes. So the Financial Sector Regulator is incredibly important, and it's incredibly important that it acts without fear, favor, and that it's independent. And our case essentially is fundamentally about that. It focuses in on what was called the Cancellations Project, which happened in around 2013, where thousands of pension funds were cancelled. Some of this was the motivation behind it rather was fine, which was funds that didn't have beneficiaries or assets. They could be deregistered, but the manner in which it happened was unlawful. And the result of this was that funds that did have beneficiaries and assets were cancelled. And that's led to millions of rands in pension benefits being tied away and beneficiaries unable to access them. And the Financial Sector Regulator is supposed to be monitoring the situation and making sure that these pension funds are reinstated through a court process so that beneficiaries can access their benefits. And this, we've been engaging with the FSCA, or the Financial Sector Regulator, since 2018, trying to find out what is happening. The slow pace at which pension funds have been reinstated is mind-boggling. A mere 48 funds have been reinstated in the last decade. These reinstatements were meant to be happening. The FSCA. Sure.
Please finish your thought.
So I guess just to round up, essentially the problem here is that we've been engaging for about 3 years, trying to get information and also to get the Financial Sector Conduct Authority to talk to beneficiaries, to talk to the public, to say this is what's happening, these are the independent processes that are taking place, these are the funds that have been unlawfully deregistered, and things like that, and they are essentially saying that they are not responsible to the public.
And that's just it, right? So you speak of this process having been taking place for a very long time, and in 2019 you published an investigative report titled The Bottom Line, Who Profits from Unpaid Pensions? The FSCA, in response to some of your questions, saying that it's not obliged to be transparent as it is accountable to Parliament and National Treasury. So is the strategy currently working that you are using? Have you engaged Parliament or National Treasury to put some pressure so that these beneficiaries can be paid?
We've particularly put pressure on National Treasury, and unfortunately the response there has also been not one of particular transparent nature. I guess the real issue is that the FSCA is a public body. It's a public body that's meant to be acting in the public interest. It's supposed to be beholden to the public. It shouldn't be that the public has to go through other routes and try and get the FSCA to talk to them. It would be ridiculous for a pension fund beneficiary to first have to go to Parliament and approach Parliament and engage with Parliament to try and find out what's happening with the whole reinstatement process. Or going to National Treasury, which has a particularly bad reputation of not engaging with the public, particularly under Tito Mbowene's leadership. But it is beholden to the public, and that is essentially what our case is about.
We'll definitely try and follow up and hear more on this case. Tabitha Paine, Acting Head of Legal at Open Secrets. Thank you.